Hi, I'm Brad Farrin, State Senator for District 3, which is 15 towns in Penobscot, Somerset, and Kennebec counties. And talking to you here today on the banks of the Kennebec River, where I was born and raised. A little bit about me. Some people ask how I got into politics. I call myself the reluctant politician. I was getting ready to retire in October of 2013, and I came home from drill one day and sat down on the couch and turned on Channel 5 News, and I've always been one to vote, but I wasn't politically involved. I joke that my political experience was Saturday morning cartoons. I'm a bill on Capitol Hill. And they were debating a bill on the House floor in Augusta about how military recruiters shouldn't be allowed to wear their uniforms in school. And that really struck me. I reached out to the local representative, who was my representative, and said, if it wasn't for a military recruiter, my life probably wouldn't have turned out the way that it did. Joined the United States Air Force in 1987, and was one of those typical Mainers that couldn't wait to get away and then couldn't wait to come home. And came back after about 3.5 years of active duty and joined the Maine National Guard up in Bangor in the Civil Engineering Squadron. I started in civil engineering. I was doing what they call an engineering assistant. It was drafting, surveying, and wartime rapid runway repair. I then became a first sergeant, kind of working for a squadron wing commander as overlooking the welfare and well-being of the enlisted force. I then was the state human resource advisor, and then, as I mentioned, I ended up as the command chief, the senior enlisted for the Maine Air National Guard. My military experience really formed a lot of, I think, who I am as a person, and it was really my first call to service. And I joined the fire department here in Norridge Walk and served for almost 17 years. Got done as a captain. Volunteer fire departments in rural Maine is obviously a very important thing, how we staff them, how we train them, and how we fund them. And so I've always kept a keen eye on that. And so the challenge went down because word circulated around and said, "Chief, what are you going to do about it?" And I had no idea. And they said, "Well, why don't you run for the House of Representatives?" And that was 10 years ago. But what I've witnessed over time is I've seen more Washington-style politics come to Augusta. And some folks ask, what are some of the things that you take away from what you've done down there in 10 years? And, one of the first bills was tuition assistance for our Army and Air Guard members, right? Talk about a recruiting tool and getting a more educated and enlisted force. Took a lot of work finding the money, and now, if you want to join the Army or Air National Guard in the state of Maine, you can go to college tuition free. Gonna raise some money and do some things and ask for people's help. And if you can't donate dollars, there's always parades and envelopes to stuff and showing up and helping out, because that's what we want to do. I've got a wonderful wife, Lynn. We have a blended family. We have 4 daughters. 3 grandchildren right now, another one due in April, which, is really part of the reason why you do this too, right? You want to leave things better for your kids and your grandkids. Our lives changed on July 27th of 2022. We lost our 26-year-old daughter, Haley, to a fentanyl overdose. And she went to work the day before she passed. We probably should have saw some warning signs and some things that were going on. Been more proactive. We blinders on, right? And caught us by surprise. And it's changed our lives. It's made us recognize even more so how important family is, because it's not being done. We're losing almost 2 Mainers a day, and people aren't talking about it. And it impacts not just those that are using, but those that pass and their families, and those that end up on the wrong side of the issue. If it hasn't impacted you or your family, then consider yourself lucky, because I think it will sooner or later. And that's a terrible thing to say. I truly believe there's more work to be done, and we can do it. Senator Farrin, I didn't vote for you, but could you look into And my first response to them is, I don't care that you didn't vote for me. That's not, I'm supposed to represent everybody in the district. We might disagree on some policy issues. That's okay. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you, that we think differently on that. But if we take the time to really talk about what's important, family, community, taxes, all of those things, I bet you we can find more than we agree upon than we disagree upon. You got to be involved to make a change.